Hey, I'm Joe Connolly here with Alex Morsanutto, founder of Silvermine Productions. And look what I have. The new Connecticut Magazine, 40 Under 40. And look whose picture is right here, but you, Alex. And actually, you could have made the 40 Under 30 list, because I see here that you're 28 years old.
Yep.
And he's doing video and commercial production all over the world. So the first question is, how did you grow your video and film production and commercial business to this point by age 28?
Great question. So I started off primarily as a film director and commercial director, gun for hire. Basically, companies would put me up for jobs all around the world, and I soon enough had a portfolio that had an example of what I could do.
How did you get to that point, though, where companies were putting you up for jobs?
So basically, it started off at NYU. I made a senior thesis film, and I was showing all my friends. I was showing kids in the business school, showing kids in the journalism program, and one of my friends who's in the business program was like, "Hey, I've got this startup company, tech startup. I think we could really benefit from some commercials, some promos." And I was like, why don't I make you something, And I was able to convince them to tell me make 3 commercials for them over a course of a weekend, and bring together all my film friends and people who aren't even in film just to help out on set, extras that are not actors, just family friends and everything. And those 3 commercials, blew things up for me. I was able to use that to bait the next fish.
Great college dorm or wherever it was startup story.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And were these commercials shown online, or were they widely distributed? I mean, even at this point, or was it something got you noticed?
Yeah, so...
What were the commercials for? What was his business? I'm sorry.
So it was called Split, and basically it was an app before Venmo and MasterCard started splitting the bill for you.
Okay.
They created this app that would basically split the bill. So if you're in a group of friends, you're all dining out, the check comes. Instead of going through a complicated splitting process, use the app and it splits it evenly.
So all your friends, also known as extras, were actually making believe they were splitting a bill somewhere.
Exactly.
Right.
So we filmed these commercials for them, and they threw them on their website, and they used that to get investments for their company to hopefully launch. And unfortunately, they got tripped up with some technical stuff that didn't end up leading to a successful company, but that's how I started.
And I have to ask, because I started my career, and so many of us did in college, did you do those initial commercials for free, or did you charge them something?
Well, if you think about how much time we put into it, it's basically for free.
Right.
It was like our full-time job for the summer. Got the gig in June, and we went to production in like late July. So we were preparing, all the way up to that, and we filmed it, and then we're in post-production, and we wanted to make it perfect. So we're using NYU's editing facilities to cut it up. I was actually graduate at that point, but I was able to get into their editing lounge, and it's very much a hustler mentality, trying to make the most out of nothing.
And that actually is a key point, too. You said you shot one weekend, but you spent most of your summer preparing for that weekend.
Oh, definitely.
And that's the real business lesson, too, right, is you realized how expensive it was. We've had people in your business in here who say that's where you put all your billing, is in that advance, because that's really where the costs are.
Definitely in pre-production. So, the more prepared we are going into the shoot, the more successful the end product's going to be. We mapped out every shot. We timed out the voiceover. We knew exactly what we were going to get before we even shot it, basically.
So jobs followed pretty quickly?
Jobs followed. It's definitely, it's competitive. Being a film director, having a production company is kind of a dream for a lot of people, especially at a film school. So, it's not easy. Don't want to trick anyone and make them believe that, because I thought it would be easy, but it definitely takes a lot of hitting the pavement, cold calling, reaching out to any business owner I knew at the time, saying, hey, this is what I just did for this tech startup. Are you guys interested in anything like this? This is the price. We can do it in this amount of time. So really just kind of being innovative with business kind of like strategies.
So you cold called looking for your first non-college client.
Definitely, yes.
How many cold calls, Alex, till you got that first job?
Oof.
A lot, huh?
It was a lot. I'd probably want to say 100.
Right.
I called everyone I knew.
And who was your first, quote, real client then? Who was that?
It was a pizza restaurant in Stamford, Connecticut, Remo's Pizzeria.
So you could have just called there, right? Knowing now what you
Yes.
didn't know then, you probably would have gone that simple route to start.
Definitely, and it wasn't as easy as, hey, do you want a commercial? Yes. Okay, yeah, let's go for it. It was more of, yeah, we're interested, and you follow up, and then you follow up,
And then meetings.
and then finally you get that one, and then you're like, whew. But then it all starts over again. But the cool thing is once you have some depth in your portfolio, it starts to attract some bigger fish, and then the budgets get larger, and you can live a little more comfortably, have a crew that's actually professional. And
This is so interesting. So who's your second one after the pizza place?
so the second one, so actually I linked up with this website called MoFilm. So they're similar to Tongle and Gennaro, which basically matches up young filmmakers with big brands. So this was coming out how many years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago, when brands were starting to realize that these $1 million commercial budgets aren't really panning out too much. They wanted to create more content inexpensively. So where do they look? They look for young filmmakers to do that can produce high quality stuff inexpensively. So that's where I came in, and a lot of people that I came up with as filmmakers were able to work with Chevrolet, work with reputable companies that you see on mainstream TV.
When I looked at your website, I said that video really drew me in on your website as soon as I went to it. And this is still only 5 or 6 years after you really started. Tell us why that video that I see on your website works so well. What's going on there?
Yeah, so I think the unique part of that video is that it's authentic to its audience. So a little behind the scenes story, that was a broadcast commercial in Myanmar, actually, in Southeast Asia, and that's starring A-list talent in Myanmar. So like the Tom Cruise of Myanmar. And I think, obviously as Americans, when we see commercials, it's targeted towards Americans, and the way they think and the way they consume products and marketing strategies. So that commercial is interesting because it's kind of, it's targeted towards, the way comedy and humor is perceived in Southeast Asia. So you need to kind of have that brain switch where, who am I making this for? Who's going to be consuming this commercial? Who is this product targeting? That kind of commercial I don't think would do well in America, but it was a big hit in Myanmar, so that's a success for us.
I can't resist asking you while you're here, for business owners, whether they're a pizza shop or a professional or a business services firm, what would be 1 or 2 pieces of advice that you would give to people who want to do a video for their business, Alex? What do you
Definitely.
tell them?
Yeah, so the advice I'd give to any business owner, small or large, is really, be authentically you. Be your brand. If your brand is a family-owned restaurant, show that in your video. I think people sometimes, they want to be like someone else. I have sometimes sports apparel companies come to me, I want to be the next Nike. I want to have advertising like Nike. But they have a company of, 10 people. And I'm like, guys, let's try being you. Let's make this unique so that people look at this advertising and they say, I want to buy products from that company. And I think that's the only way you could really do it when you're competing against, such competition with big budgets that could produce commercials with A-list talent. And
then how do you get them to be themselves? Okay, so you've given them that advice. Now how do they be themselves?
So that's a great question. Part of that comes out from a lot of talking, just like we're talking right now, and understanding their story, the brand story, and really trying to capture that, whether it be through visuals or voiceover, Or we did a cool thing for the city of New Rochelle where we went and spoke to business owners in New Rochelle, and they were talking about why they love working in New Rochelle. And that was just kind of something that was authentic, and I think stuff like that is what resonates with people, and not just some marketing commercial,
And it's interesting, maybe they were being authentic because it was easier. They were talking about New Rochelle as opposed to their specific business. So it was very sincere. They were sincere.
Being sincere. And I think that, I don't know, I just, especially with my own company, I try being very sincere with people, this is our story, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to pretend like I'm Ridley Scott, but what you're getting every day when you call me and, my associates, we're going to be authentic. We're going to tell you, the way things, are straight up. And I think being real with people, whether it be the audience or other brands, I think is the way to go.
Alex, it's great to meet you.
Great to chat with you. I appreciate it.
And your story, I think, will encourage a lot of people, and you gave great advice. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.